Hi, this is Brennan Davis from Bedrock Games and the Bedrock blog, and today I'm going to be reviewing Journey of the Doomed, a 1985 Shaw Brothers wuxia film. This is like my third time trying to review this, so I am going to just forewarn you. It's laundry day here. Me and my wife have been doing laundry, and there may be occasional distracting sounds. I'm going to try to just go through this video, whether that happens or not. It's just been a little too difficult to work it into the schedule today, but I really want to review this, so just be warned. There may be sounds in the background. So the movie stars Kara Hui and Stephen Tung. It's quite different, and I'll get to that in a minute. But just to give you sort of the plot line, um, this is about a woman who doesn't realize she's a princess. She's the illegitimate daughter of the emperor, but she's been secretly raised in a brothel as a servant. And the film starts when there's some kind of succession crisis looming or something of that nature going on, and there are two princes, and one of them wants to have her assassinated so he can make his path to the throne clear. The other one wants to rescue her and use her as a pawn in the succession game. So one of them sends an assassin squad, the other one sends a rescue squad, and the assassin squad gets there first. Kara Hui plays one of the assassins, and it's like an all-female assassin squad. They slaughter everybody at the brothel. She flees. I think the girl's name was like Fascia, something like that. So Fascia flees, and she ends up meeting a guy named Knight. They go roaming together. He helps her escape. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's the sort of simple rundown. They find a home in the wilderness. They become a couple and live there for a while. And there's a mute girl that lives next door, and there's a little bit of a sort of jealousy love triangle thing. Then the forces that are after them arrive again, and they have to sort of resume the flight, and we end up with the climax at this burning fortress location. So that's the really quick, somewhat misleading synopsis. The film, so I had never really intended to review this film originally. I got this by accident. I had been ordering the sequels to Temple of the Red Lotus because I wanted to review those, and one of the companies that I ordered from told me they had the second movie, and then it turned out that no, they didn't. It wasn't in their inventory. There was some sort of glitch in the system. So they said, hey, we feel bad. We'll send you a random Shaw Brothers movie. And I thought that was pretty cool. So I got the movie in the mail, and this was it. Oops, sorry, this was it. I had never really heard of it before. I didn't know anything about it. And again, it's the last wuxia movie that they did. So I thought that was pretty notable. So I went online, and all I could really find was reviews. So I read those, and I'm hoping those didn't color my impression of the film. I will say that most of the reviews I read were pretty negative, though there were some really positive ones. And so I went in trying to sort of push that out of my mind. There were things about this movie I liked, and there were things about this movie I did not like. One of the things that was most striking about it was it really looks like a Deathstalker or a Beastmaster type movie. It's you kind of have sort of like the sexy leather outfit type thing going on, and you also have the gratuitous sex and nudity and like very graphic sex scenes. So I think it opens with a sex scene. There's a bunch of there's at least two or three after that. There's a lot of nudity. And much of the nudity is kind of random during battle and stuff, so it's just kind of like boobage for the sake of boobage. None of that stuff bothered me. I don't mind that, and I didn't mind the Deathstalker look. I grew up watching these early '80s horror and fantasy movies, and Deathstalker was a film that I saw with my friends as a kid, and I think I don't know if they made two or three Deathstalker. They might have made four of them. I don't remember, but however many they made, we watched them, and they're not terribly good films, but they're very memorable, and this definitely reminded me of that look. I didn't think that was bad, though. I thought that was kind of interesting, sort of like the Five Deadly Venoms. Has a very unusual aesthetic. The outfits are they're a little bit kinky almost, and so I don't think that's necessarily bad if it gives the movie an interesting visual appearance, and the movie kind of, I don't know, works with that in some way. Like just to give you a random example, like Flash Gordon is one of these movies that looks really strange, but it kind of takes you to a really strange world, and it all kind of makes sense. So I thought if they paired that with a something more like Holy Flame of the Martial World, which I reviewed before, if they got that level of gonzo in with these outfits, it would have been kind of a cool combo. But they paired it with a fairly standard wuxia storyline. I mean, it wasn't like terribly uninventive or anything. It just was sort of like more typical of a wuxia film, and I don't know. It just I just didn't really enjoy it. I think part of it was the music. There was a recurring um, sort of surfer rock soundtrack that they kept playing during the action scenes, and I think surf music actually can fit wuxia. Like if you do like like a tremolo type guitar piece that's in like a harmonic minor scale or something, I think that works. That kind of you can sort of picture that on any action movie really, but this was like Wipeout or something by the Beach Boys, or it felt like people playing volleyball on the beach, and just didn't go with what was going on screen. So I thought that was really weird. But there were some melodies that they used that were good. I heard them use something that was played during the Heroes Shed No Tears film, and that seemed fitting. But the surfer thing it didn't make any sense to me. And there were a few other little bits like that. But I don't know. I kind of maybe took it as being the product of being 1985, but I just didn't think it worked. And again, the 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 sexy outfits and stuff, I thought that was fine. The gratuitous nudity, that wouldn't have bothered me. I maybe would have liked them to connect it a little bit more to what was going on. Sort of like in Killer Clans, there's a lot of nudity, but it really ties with everything that's going on in terms of the vibe and the theme. But it wasn't. It wasn't like it wasn't anything horrible. The the Now the fights, the Karahui stuff was great. The like early on in the movie, there's a couple of sequences where I was like, you know what, like people say this movie isn't any good, but these fight scenes, I'm really enjoying these fight scenes, and so I was about to kind of give the movie an A, but then Karahui's character doesn't really stay through the whole movie, and after that, and I don't know if it's simply because she's not in it or if it's the decisions they made for the fight choreography, but the fights just kind of peter out after that. I really wasn't as interested in them, and I found her fights particularly tight. They were seemed very well coordinated, very 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 energetic, and they worked. But after that, I found myself noticing like little flaws in the postures and things, in the strikes, and it just didn't look quite as convincing. Not all of it, but some of it kind of did that for me. So, but overall, I don't know. It was an okay movie. I would say this is an okay movie. It's not like a horrible movie. It's certainly worth watching if you want to see the last wuxia film Shaw Brothers did. It's worth watching if you're a Kara Hui fan and you don't mind that she's only in like the first quarter of it or something. And it's worth watching if you just want to see like a really strangely costumed wuxia film. It definitely has its own thing going. Like I said, it's kind of got a Beastmaster, Deathstalker vibe. And the action at the beginning is okay. It's actually quite good, but then it gets mediocre, and so I think overall that gives it an okay level of action. There's also kind of like two movies going on at once. There's the whole thing with the assassins and stuff, and then there's like the love story in the middle. And usually there's some kind of love story going on in the background, anyways. But this one felt kind of like right in the like a separate movie right in the middle of the movie. So I don't know. I recommend it to people who are really into the genre, or really into Shaw Brothers, or really into Kara Hui, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to somebody as a first movie to see, or if they or if they only want to see like 4 or 5 star movies, maybe avoid this one. It wasn't as awful as I thought it was going to be, and like I said early on, I was like, oh, maybe this will be a really good movie. But it turned out, for me, it just wasn't. I think the biggest problem was the consistency. There were moments where I was like, oh, I'm into this movie, and then, no, I'm not really into this movie. And then I was like, oh, maybe it's getting a little interesting, and then no. So I definitely, it was a movie I kind of wanted to like, because I thought the aesthetic of it was different, and and I like when it's clear to me that the directors are kind of pulling from other sources of inspiration, sort of like with Detective D and the Mystery of the Phantom Flame. There were, there's a lot going on there aesthetically. I thought that I felt like it was vibrant and alive because the director was treating it as a living genre and wasn't just trying to repeat things that had been done before. And here, I thought that was a sign that maybe that would be the case. But a lot of it felt like, I don't know, maybe they were throwing stuff against the wall to see what would stick. And again, I think if this was done more in the style of Holy Flame, the Martial World, I think it might have been better. It's just that it didn't really work the way they did it, at least for me. I don't know. I mean, I'll let people make their own choice on that, but I would have to say this was for me, I'd say it's a mediocre wuxia film. But one maybe worth checking out just due to the sort of some of the notable things about it. But I wouldn't I wouldn't knock yourself out getting it. And this is the Celestial Pictures version. I don't know how much it costs because they gave it to me. But I did notice that they have it's either a Dragon Dynasty or a Swordsmaster version of this. Those are usually pretty affordable and they're readily available on Amazon and stuff. So if you do want to get it, I'd get that one. I'm pretty sure they're identical. I kind of like the packaging on these ones better personally, but and I think this is maybe an out of region. This is a region 3 DVD. So if you're in the States, definitely go for the Swordsmaster version. But not a huge recommend for this one. Just maybe if you like if you like sort of unusual films and you just kind of want to build your collection, fine. If you want to see the like I said, the really weird aesthetic going on, fine. If you're a choreography fan, fine. But I don't particularly recommend this to people. So hopefully I'll have my Jade Temple reviews up soon once those arrive, and I have a couple of other movies I want to get to, and I'm going to be doing some more gaming stuff too. So I will talk to you later.